Hello everybody, this is Jerry, or Blade Edge 86 as I'm known as on YouTube. And I have a form of autism called Asperger's, a form of high-functioning autism. I'm here to give my 2 cents on the latest public service announcement by Autism Speaks called Am Autism, which if you haven't seen it yet, I have a link to it in the description of the video. To put it bluntly, this ad is the most god-awful piece of crap I've seen relating to autism since Michael Savage's case of foot and mouth disease last year, where he gave his own twist on the old classic refrigerator mother syndrome, which I've dubbed the absent father syndrome. I watched the video multiple times, and the more I see it, the less I like it. Now, there are many problems I have with the video, but for prudence sake, I'm just going to tell you my main 2. The first problem I have is that Autism Speaks obviously did not consider how people with autism would feel about the ad. Now, many people with autism, even many with high-functioning autism, take things very literally, and because of that often misinterpret certain metaphors and figures of speech. For example, I remember one time several years ago when I was just a little kid, and I had the same problem, and I overheard a conversation with my mom with one of my aunts. I don't remember what the conversation was about because it was a long time ago, but I remember that she used the common idiom, "until the cows come home." Now, the statement baffled me because I knew we didn't actually have cows, so I asked my mom, "What cows?" So when many people who have autism who have this particular difficulty see this ad and they hear lines like, "Your money will fall into my hands and I will bankrupt you for my own self-gain," or "If you are happily married, I'll make sure that your marriage fails," or are going to misinterpret that and their feelings are going to get hurt. It is bad enough that mothers had to feel guilty about their autistic children in the dark ages when the scientific consensus was that autism was caused by bad parenting. We don't need people with autism feeling guilty because of ill-advised statements on an ad cynically designed to scare people into giving donations. And speaking of scaring people, my second problem I have with this ad is the shameless fear-mongering, which is apparent from the moment I clicked play. My ears were assaulted by an ominous tune. Sounded more befitting of a trailer on a B-grade horror movie. And my ears were assaulted even further a few seconds later by an equally ominous voice that sounds like it could have belonged to Jack the Ripper himself, saying, "I am autism." They might as well have had the entire video just be Freddy Krueger going on a killing spree at a local school with the Nightmare on Elm Street theme song playing in the background. It'd be a lot gorier, but the message would essentially be the same. I mean, this ad also reminds me of those lame anti-marijuana public service announcements that try to scare you with absurd statements like, "Every time you light up, you're lighting up with Osama bin Laden," or my personal favorite, "Take one puff and you'll start doing smack in no time." I mean, listen to the first 2 lines of this garbage. "I'm visible in your children, but if I can help it, I'm invisible to you until it's too late. I know where you live, and guess what? I live there too. I hover around all of you." That's cool. I can also do hackneyed horror movie cliches. I mean, I see dead people. Seriously, I see dead people. Just last night I saw the ghosts of Colonel Sanders and the Quaker Oats man. They came to warn me to watch the demonic tape I was sent in the mail the other day by devil-worshipping space aliens. And oddly enough, that they know what I did last summer. See, folks, I told you I could do it. Of course, it gets even worse, folks. The Hyperbole Award goes to this nugget of wisdom. "I work very quickly. I work faster than pediatric AIDS, cancer, and diabetes combined. I'm not going to deny that autism is more common than all these conditions put together, but the last time I checked, autism isn't fatal and is not a death sentence. The doctor who first diagnosed me said I wouldn't get an IQ past 50 and could turn into a vegetable at any time and recommended putting me in an institution. I'm not going to lie, I had to struggle to get to where I am today. I lost what little language I had at age 2 and didn't gain it back until I was 5. And struggled with several behavioral issues, some of which weren't fully overcome until my senior year of high school. And not every individual with autism is going to end up as fortunate as myself, but to compare autism, even in its most severe cases, to AIDS, cancer, and diabetes is one of the most irresponsible things I've heard anyone say about autism. And the emotional blackmail award goes to, your money will fall into my hands and I'll bankrupt you for my own self-gain. Yes, I will admit that many of the therapies to treat autism, and by treatments, I mean the legitimate ones like auditory integration training, speech and behavioral and occupation therapies, and not the frauds like chelation therapy or the special diets, are expensive, and much of that is due to our extremely flawed insurance system, which is a discussion for another video. But individuals and families with autism do at least have some resources available to them, and the best resources is each other. One of them is valerieslist.com, which is an emailing list where you can ask questions and voice concerns with other individuals and families who are affected by autism and get some answers. Now, the site is geared mainly toward Southern California, but it has good information, so I do recommend it. The Autism Society of America is another good place to go, so parents, you don't have to go broke to help your kids. And lastly, the award for baseless stereotyping and generalizing goes to, I will make it virtually impossible for your family to easily attend a temple, a birthday party, a public park, without a struggle, without embarrassment, without pain. If that is really the case, then can you geniuses at Autism Speaks explain to me how it is humanly possible for me to calmly and rationally speak into this webcam instead of screaming my head off and violently flailing about like I'm having a seizure? I used to be like that. I used to have violent temper tantrums on an almost daily basis for even the slightest provocation, but you know what happened? I got help. Auditory integration training helped me deal with my sensitivities to sound. Speech and language therapy helped me learn to talk, and behavioral therapy, combined with the gradual mainstreaming process and socialization, helped me deal with my frustrations in a more socially constructive and responsible manner. Yes, there's always going to be a small sliver of the autism community who is always going to be like that, but most of us can, with the right help, overcome at least some of those issues, and not at least enough to become productive members of society. Autism is a spectrum disorder ranging in severity from mild to, yes, severe, with most falling somewhere in the middle. This generalization does not help anyone. It gives parents a sense of hopelessness that nothing they do will ever help their child, when in most cases nothing can be further from the truth. And it gives many with autism a distorted view of their condition, that they cannot solve their problems, and this prevents them from reaching their full potential. Unfortunately, it's not just Autism Speaks that is guilty of this. A few years ago, the Child Study Center in New York compared autism to a ransom note. The following statement in the ad said it best: "We have your son. We'll make sure he will no longer be able to care for himself or interact socially as long as he lives." The ad may have been pulled, but the damage was already done. An old-told number of parents who, before their child was diagnosed, have had little if any understanding of autism, who were already frightened, saw what many of them thought confirmed their worst nightmares. We as parents, educators, scientists, therapists, as well as individuals with autism who know the truth must not be afraid to speak it and expose the BS. This is Jerry. Until next time, see ya.